everybody, welcome. This is No Bullshit Gaming Podcast 2.5 Gamers Session 21. We are discussing latest industry news, having fun as always, and dropping knowledge. But let's not forget, this is still a 4 a.m. conference discussion vibe. So we are not being so serious. So, please stop being serious as well. So today we have Felix, ad monetization guru Braberg again. We have Jakub, Mr. Game Designer MER, and myself, Matej UA Ninja Lunch Challenge. So we'll discuss Bunker Bobby, then some VR headset prototypes. We are going to discuss TikTok's ByteDance mobile games a year, and then go through TikTok's impressive numbers and share some best practices on the UA side. And if we have some time, then maybe we will share some best practices for other UA channels. So how was your week, bitches?
Pretty good, I would say.
First of all, I'm looking forward to sharing this. So I absolutely got shit poured on me this week in terms of explicit ads being displayed in my games. And it's funny because Matej thought it's the best thing since sliced bread. And I'm just getting completely buried in bad reviews. And basically the perpetrators, Brick Breaker 1 and 2 by MoGame or MoGame, I guess. Haven't been able to find much where these guys are based. I think New York. But basically what should I call them? I guess, Matej, you would call them innovators, and I would call them assholes.
I wouldn't say innovators.
What they were doing, what they were doing on their UA creatives, basically, usually, all these ad networks that use to display ads, they're really good at getting, explicit content and catching it after, a couple of hundred impressions. They're good at catching that. So what these guys were doing, they were putting an explicit, really dirty start card. That was a dirty, kind of XXX type of thing for the first second, only 1 second in the first second of the video creative. And then it wasn't getting spotted. So instead of doing 300 or maybe 700 impressions, it was 30,000 impression in 4 or 5 apps. It's just I'll put the creatives in the show notes, but it was it was bad. But
yeah, please share.
You think
please
this
share
is
what you think.
Is this okay in your view?
It's it's not okay, but it's really funny.
It's
really
basically
funny.
strip poker.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's strip poker in 1 second.
Yeah, it's 1 second, and it's did I really see that? And then it goes into breaking the bricks, and you're what just happened?
Yeah, what the fuck just happened? But it's look. So a lot of companies are trying to find loopholes and try to innovate. Maybe, yeah, you can call it whatever you want. I wouldn't say this is an innovation, but whatever. They are trying to increase the IPMs so much they are willing to use this type of content just to catch an attention.
What's that risk if you do this? What can happen? Can you get banned, or can your advertiser accounts get banned? Because I banned these guys. It took me maybe 10 hours to get all the complaints, and then I banned them in all the networks from all our games. But what happens next?
Well, if this happens on Facebook, you can get a ban immediately. I'm not sure how ad networks are going to deal with this. But perhaps they will get banned eventually. But you can create a new account. You can even create a new company. It's easy.
Anyway, we'll leave a link to some of the ads and
please,
the show notes, and you guys can let us know what you think.
Exactly. Tell us what you think, if this is okay with you guys, or if you think this is just too much.
Definitely too much.
Yeah, I know.
One other thing I thought was really cool that I wanted to share as well before we dive into the news was Google actually brought out something good, useful, and interesting this week. I couldn't believe it. It's the Google Play SDK Index. So what it is exactly what you think it is. It's an SDK index of their preferred SDKs that you work with, along with a lot of really cool data. So you can go in there and you can search for a Fiverr SDK, and what you can see is the latest version. You can see the SDK adoption by version, and what you can also see is the SDK retention by app. So you can see like how long it takes people to remove it on average if it's a bad SDK. I think this is really cool. This is more of an admin thing. This is going to help me out quite a lot.
Nice.
Will Apple come up with something similar?
Yeah, no.
Of course not.
Most probably no. Most probably no. And again, I would like to thank you guys for sharing such a nice comments and feedback with us. We really appreciate it. So please keep doing that. It's
Yeah,
just
we will try to sit still. Like,
yeah.
that's one of the feedbacks we're getting, that we move around too much. But yeah.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword, because now we need to keep raising the bar every time. So we will try to do that. It's going to be challenging, but we love challenges. And if you love what we are talking about, hit the subscribe button. Again. No, why are you laughing?
No, all good.
The subscribers are increasing, so yeah, please do so. So let's get into the news. Who's going to
Bobby got re-elected. That's the news pretty much.
Yeah.
Bunker Bobby won a shareholder vote, which by like 96% or something like that, right?
91. Then 88% voted in favor of company's executive compensation package. And additionally, on top of that, 95% voted against appointing an employee representative, which was the vocal scream from the employees lately.
No. And this is after the internal investigation revealed no wrongdoing.
Yeah,
so,
Activision acquitted themselves of any wrongdoing.
Yeah, this is perfect.
Bunker Bobby, well done. You're in there. Yeah. You're dug in there like an Alabama tick.
Yeah, not going anywhere. We had this bet with Jakob. I think it was last year.
Yeah. I thought he would get cancelled by this time over here, but yeah,
it didn't happen. He's Bunker Bobby.
Yeah, it's very deep. It's very deep in that structure.
Yeah, but at least the good news in the story is that Activision.
Is there good news?
Yeah. There's the first union that got created there from the QA workers there, that actually they let happen and they can acknowledge. So maybe maybe when Microsoft took over this will be kind of sorted over.
I'm not sure, man. So let's see.
We'll see. Okay. Like I can still see a few more photos of the orc on my LinkedIn feed.
It's happening. The famous orc in front of the building. And people leaving. Yeah, the most used photo in the last year, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Moving on, we got some nice reveals from Mark from the Meta company, or let's say Facebook, for better understanding. They showed their new VR prototypes with this kind of a long video. Like you have the short one where he's just showing the 4 prototypes, and then the bigger one where there's actually talking about all the technical mumbo jumbo behind it with Michael Abrash, which is like, I guess, the go-to person regarding VR science now. What's pretty much done there from a high level is that they want to push really, really like far with their standard. They even talking about this kind of visual Turing test that they want to solve, which is like you won't notice that you're in virtual world because it will be so real. What the message pretty much tells you is that we have these really, really 4 big problems, such as very focal, the focusing of eyes, and imitating that, the distortion of lenses, the resolution of displays, like you need to have like so much more dense pixel per degree dense displays, and high dynamic range, which is, it needs to be 10 times brighter than the current best HDR TVs. So they build a headset on like each of these problems pretty much, and they are able to kind of move forward. But in the end, they need to kind of shrink all of these into one, and they are already so big currently. So I guess this whole thing is just to try to give investors and everybody that's doubting their vision some kind of a milestone that they achieved, and they're moving forward to that like 2030 year metaverse that Mark is always talking about. But yeah, it's really interesting from technical point. I can definitely see some progress, but I'm still kind of skeptical if the 2030 date will be even hit, because there's so much more technical, literally miracles they need to solve in order to get there that, yeah, I don't know if they can hit that. Like, it will be a miracle itself if they can hit it by 2030, because that's pretty much in 8 years.
Why are you so excited about this?
Because I can see real progress with it.
You can see with your glasses, of course you can see.
but like they actually making pretty good progress there. Like with the new holocake lenses that they pretty much developed, and like all the other things that they have they have actually that 10 times brighter display, which is doing like 20,000 nits, which compared to current HDR TVs, those are like 2,000. So they have that, but it's like, it's big like a microwave. So.
Man, VR has been the next big thing, like every 10 years for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Let's hope that this next 10 years, it'll actually be the big thing that everyone's talking about.
Yeah.
But mate, like progress is exponential. Sometimes, it takes, few years and you're there.
Yeah.
You know how
true.
like VR was there from 60s. Like first headset is 1960 something, and it weighed like a car.
Okay.
So we're getting there. It's the progress is exponential. Keep that in mind. But yeah, let's see. Good progress here, but still, I'm kind of skeptical to hitting the 2030 mark. So let's see. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Well, and then we have the TikTok's ByteDance generates 1 billion from mobile games in 1 year. So that's kind of nice. The growing portfolio drives 139 million downloads during the last year, according to Sensor Tower. So ByteDance is behind, the famous TikTok app, which we are going to talk about. But then, over the course of last 2 years, the company has expanded into mobile games publishing, and as they're looking to diversify the business and challenge the Tencent entities. Well, good luck with that. But they're acquiring games companies like Mobile Legends, Bang Bang developer Moonton, and Girls Chronicle Idle Heroine studio C4 Connect. Well, I've never heard of that game before, but the latter studio also developed Red Alert Online, which is published by Tencent.
That one I saw. That's a nice Forex.
Yeah, the classic Forex game. Well, but the most successful title is the Mobile Legends Bang Bang, and that game picked up 78 million downloads in the last year, which is nice.
And it is still currently in a lawsuit with Riot, if I get that right. Like the new one.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then like the 78 million downloads is 56% of all installs by their games portfolio. Then there's the second game which is Ragnarok X Next Generation, and then another Moonton game, Sweet Crossing Snake.io at the third place. But yeah, well, who said that the Mobile Legends Bang Bang is the most lucrative title in the last year, generating $317.7 million over the last year, which is nice. And it's like 32% of the whole spending of the ByteDance mobile games portfolio. Then we have the Girls Chronicle, and then we have... what is there?
Mobile Legends Adventure. That is just a spin-off of Mobile Legends Bang Bang IP on pretty much something like Idle Heroes.
Oh, nice. Okay. Well, that's pretty interesting. I mean, we have also like some other data from the markets, but this is going to be interesting for you, Jakub, because the largest market for player spending is Japan. It's Japan, but then obviously it's China and then US. Kind of nice.
Like ByteDance is set to be like absolute juggernaut. Like that whenever they IPO, like that's going to be the biggest IPO in recent memory. Like Jesus, they're
but first the Chinese government needs to allow them to IPO.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Keep in mind. I would say they're also like facing pressure currently because Riot's Wild Rift is pretty much being spread around. Like, I mean, the League of Legends version that they did after like the normal Tencent game failed here, RNL Valor didn't get any traction in the West. So this one is moving there. But yeah, the MOBA genre is pretty much Asia. So I'm guessing they will sort it out there.
Oh, but it's interesting. I mean, the other markets. I mean, the top markets in regards to installs, it's just like Indonesia, China, okay, and then Philippines. I mean, those are like top 3 markets in terms of installs, which is it's ridiculous.
How reliable is the data from China?
Yeah, exactly. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. But this is App Store only, so I guess
App Store only, that's the point, man. You don't, account for all the other Chinese stores, which are much bigger, I would say.
Yeah, I know, but pretty interesting article from Sensor Tower. It's always nice to see how the company is trying to diversify the revenue streams.
So we wanted to do a bit of a TikTok kind of / ByteDance focused episode today.
But before we do that, I would just like to thank you guys from Addictive for showing us really interesting and nice support since the beginning of our podcast. So thank you very much for doing that.
If you've built a mobile game for iOS or Android, you've experienced user churn. You can win those users back, but it's getting more and more expensive, even more so to acquire totally new users. Enter cross-promotion with Addictive. By identifying your users likely to churn early, you can showcase another game in your portfolio before they leave forever, transforming a lost user into a new user, increasing your revenues. Learn more now at addictive.com.
And then now we can continue with the TikTok.
Yeah, thanks guys. So what sparked this little TikTok focused episode that we're having today was a graph that was circulating on Twitter early this week, and it was a really interesting graph. So we'll put it in the show notes, a link to it. But it was a graph essentially showing the revenue over time after hitting 10 billion in revenue, and it had all the big companies that you normally have on this kind of graph. So you have Meta, Tesla, Amazon, Apple, Google, Microsoft, and then ByteDance. And what you see is already after year 3, ByteDance is tracking, after hitting 10 billion, on the 3rd year, they're already tracking to hitting 60 billion in revenue. And they're completely, absolutely outgrowing the pace of any other of these companies that grew so quickly.
They have the best hockey stick, yeah?
Yeah, all other companies combined.
Yeah. Tesla has kind of it, but it took a bit too long, and it's just, they're a juggernaut. They're outgrowing Meta, Tesla, everyone. Microsoft grows slow and steady, continuously and predictably, but these guys are just, hockey stick through the roof. So dug a bit deeper on a report that came out from in May in 2022, so this year. And it said that TikTok is on track to triple its ad revenue, which will basically eclipse the combined ad revenue of Twitter and Snap. So TikTok only, that's only TikTok, is expected to triple from 3.8 billion in ad revenue in 2021 to 11.6 in 2022. That's a 200% increase from a massive base.
And that's just counting TikTok, which is not counting the other Chinese version.
Yeah, exactly. Not counting Douyin, but only TikTok. And these numbers, they don't lie at all. You can't reach this scale without advertisers getting considerable amount of value from the ads they're showing on TikTok. And we thought it would be nice to kind of talk a bit about how to do UA on this platform that's growing so rapidly. And Mate, you do UA, right? You know a bit.
A little bit, yeah. A little bit here and there. Yeah, what a coincidence. I'm here. Yeah, okay. And I'm running some games on TikTok, and I have to admit, in last 6 months, this number really grew quite a lot because, Facebook is fucked. We can admit that. The quality is just terrible, and most probably, people from Facebook moved to Snap and TikTok and maybe other channels. I mean, I'm probably too old for any other channels like TikTok or Snapchat. Oh well, when COVID started, I definitely started browsing through TikTok, but then eventually deleted the app because there was also a nice tweet running around that Chinese government is spying on you through TikTok.
No one in China cares about you, Maciej.
I know.
That was the time when Trump wanted to like divest TikTok,
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, besides that, there's a couple of fun facts about TikTok. So if you don't have an account manager, then you're also pretty fucked. And I'm just going to explain why. Because there is, usually you can target the whole world on Facebook, Google, Unity, any other ad network, but not on TikTok, because if you don't have the rep, you only have a self-serve account, and there are, no restriction in terms of placement, but there are definitely restriction on countries that you can target using location.
So reach is restricted.
I'm sorry?
Reach is restricted pretty much. Like your reach you can advertise for.
Yes, and the countries and regions that you can target depends on your company registration country or where you registered your TikTok business account. So I'm gonna explain. So if you registered your TikTok for business account in Vietnam, you can target different countries than an account that was registered in Spain. And I have a very fresh example. There is one game company located in Australia, and we are in the soft launch, and we wanted to target the US because we have US in the soft launch countries, and we wanted to start it on TikTok. And guess what? We were not able to start a campaign in US because if you are sitting in Australia, you have only 9 countries you can run a UA in. Which is absolutely, ridiculous. So then we had to reach out to someone from Asian office.
Representatives?
And got the rep. We had to run a campaign in the UK with the $128 budget because it was the minimum requirement. Nobody cared about the performance. We just had to run for 10 or 15 or 14 days to be able to unlock the US. And that only happened thanks to our account manager. It's like, wow.
Is this some kind of like RPG progression with
Most probably, yeah. I was like, what? It's like, how is this even possible?
Man, this mimics so much what I'm seeing on the Admon side with their like audience network Pangle. You just get the feeling that lawyers are running like the international part of TikTok so much to not step in any like legal issues.
Yeah.
Like,
It's really, this is really ridiculous. So if you are, opening up a new account and you don't have account manager, then you're pretty limited. This happened also to me with one Swedish company. Like, so I want to run US right away, but we didn't have an account manager, and so I can only run like tier 1 countries like Austria. It's like 20 countries, but still no US. And US,
why would you
it's
do
still like
this?
top 1 country for us.
Like, if Facebook, Snap, does Snap have the same restrictions?
No. It is like TikTok only. I was really surprised when I had to deal with this. It's like, whoa, okay.
Man, they grew their revenue 200% with all that. Like,
Exactly, yeah,
yes.
and you have so many restrictions.
Wow.
So imagine if there are no restrictions, then the growth could be even better.
Isn't there something that we're not missing by placing those restrictions? They're getting some advantage somewhere else.
Like what kind
I
of?
think there is we're not seeing the whole picture, obviously. Like there is more to the story, and I suspect if I had to bet some money on why, is that they think because they're Chinese, they're gonna have even bigger regulatory scrutiny, so they're really being cautious.
How it's just it's the same UA channel as Facebook or Google or Snap or whatever else. Like, why would they?
I studied law for 3 months and I dropped out. I don't have a legal mind. I have no clue.
Okay, all right. But you mentioned,
isn't this from not UA person perspective? Isn't this making the ads pretty much, or the ad space pretty much better for that local person? that if you're not competing with all of these other companies against yourself on that segment because they're restricted.
Yeah, there's less competition, true. But still, I mean, the US is kind of like the only problem. You have from like almost anywhere in the world, you can target UK, Germany, France, like all these like European tier 1 countries, even Canada, Australia, and Switzerland, and the Nordics as well, but not US. So I'm not sure, like maybe US is kind of like problematic because of the regulatory issues, but yeah, well, interesting fact. Very interesting fact that was really surprised to.
How do you get an account manager? Like, what kind of spends do you need to hit before you get an account manager?
Yeah,
or
you
you
need
need to meet someone that you get along with?
Yeah, you need to be very well connected.
That sounds great.
Yeah, it's kind
Are
of
you
like
just saying that because you're a UA consultant, or is it actually really hard?
it's actually really hard. Like nobody cares too much about that. I approached a lot of guys from the past that I worked with before, and like and then after some deep discussions, then we were able to open up a lot of new countries. So it's very interesting case. And then maybe someone from TikTok will reach out to us and say I'm pretty much wrong, but
Probably
please.
someone from the Liga team.
Oh yeah, we have that fun stuff.
It sounds to me like some kind of an invite only thing.
It was like that before, so you really had to go through a lot of hoops to get the account on TikTok and the business manager, especially. So not a lot of companies could run TikTok campaigns before, and that's why there are like these companies like HTT Pool that can help you open up the accounts, and some other companies as well. There were like some agencies, they claim that they are the only ones back in days that they can run TikTok campaigns.
Man, when they clean that up, man, it's going to be a rocket ship.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, it's already a rocket ship. So
Without this, yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, I'm gonna talk about that later on with all these like best practices, but it's looking and working pretty well, and to be honest, way better than Facebook these days. So I can take that. I can take all these like hoops and restrictions.
Do you think it's like, it must surely be different if you're like spending, like 10, 20, 30K a day, like on TikTok? Surely it must be different.
Of course it's different. I mean, it's still a UA channel without the value optimization, for example. So you are not able to run the value optimized campaigns for the whales that you can run on Google or Facebook. It is in the beta program for some accounts. I had some
the well-connected ones.
some luck for testing it in the past, but it's still like again very early.
Doesn't really work yet.
Yeah, they're testing it, so it can go in a very different directions. Same thing with playables, for example. So they are testing it, but they are testing it on Pangle only, and Pangle is the audience network for TikTok, right?
Yeah.
Any comments on the ad monetization side for Pangle? I know you mentioned it like multiple times.
It's been the next big thing to get excited over in the admon world for the last, exactly like VR, for the last 2 years. Because,
thank you.
I know you mentioned it like a million times and nothing happened yet.
Yeah, so the reason nothing has happened yet is exactly the same. So when you're saying that, like I hear exactly the same thing on the admon side. Yeah. So the main issue is Pangle has not launched in any European country yet, or in America. So for that reason, on an admon perspective, it's kind of not worthy integrating for at least the apps that I work with. But the thing is, I've worked with Pangle once on a considerable amount of scale in Japan, which was one of the first geos they launched, and it was super impressive. I already had the SDK when they launched. So after 3 weeks, the eCPMs were higher on iOS than Facebook. This was before the IDFA stuff.
Okay.
And then, the fill after 3 weeks just overtook Facebook, and I was getting better performance than Facebook in Japan on rewarded, and everything was looking really good. Rewarded interstitials. So it's looking super strong. And right now, like currently, like Pangle is like only live in some countries. Like the only ones that are kind of interesting, like where you can get decent ECPMs, is Japan, South Korea, like Singapore. But it's just like without America, it's just really tough sell to get it started. And they said like 2 years ago, yeah, Q1, and then Q1 came, oh, it's Q3, and then Q4, and now I'm just like, hey, how about this year? They're like, yeah, Q2 finished, and now they're like, maybe Q4.
Yeah.
And it's just like what I'm hearing is just like legal is pushing back so much, and they want to have all the I's dotted and all the T's crossed when they go live in the EU and America because of basically the fallout, like a la Trump and stuff. So what I've heard is probably they would launch Europe before America, and that will be kind of the starting gun to see how that goes. But to be honest, like their bidder, like on AppLovin has been like was really good. I don't run it currently, so I can't speak of it, but I don't imagine that it's not going to be like with the numbers that we said earlier, like how they're growing. Like I don't imagine it being like any worse. So yeah.
Well, can't wait. It's gonna be a good.
I just get the feeling like if they sort out Pangle, they sort out that UA stuff, and like I'm sure they want to sort that out to have the numbers looking really polished before they go public. Like,
I can imagine. But maybe there is also like in EU something on the GDPR side as well. I mean, what else could be a problem?
Yeah.
We'll see.
Man, the legal team must be running the company right now. Like at least international business, like 100%. Like from what you hear, like it sounds like legal issues. This is not tech issues. This is legal issues.
Isn't there also like this kind of a Chinese government aspect into it? Because lately, for instance, I heard that there's like a rumor mill on the DD IPO happening and then not happening and happening again. Same goes for the Ant IPO. So maybe there's also, behind the scenes problems that we don't see there.
Maybe.
Yeah, Didi is the Chinese version of Uber, one of the biggest unicorns there.
Okay. Don't know, but it's quite obvious who runs the ship.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's right. So we can move to the actual UA stuff for TikTok, which is kind of similar but also very different from Facebook. Even though if you open up a TikTok ads manager, it's the same thing as Facebook, but not in blue color, but in black color.
I heard a really funny story because I was at GDC and I ran into some guy in a bar and he was really nice. And I was just like, what do you do? It's like, oh, I designed like the front end of like the ad manager at TikTok. I was like, oh, cool. He's like, what did you do before that? I designed the one from like Facebook. And I was like, what? And it's like, yeah, I also did Snapchats. I was like,
yeah,
what?
That's what I want to say.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I wanted to say. Like,
sorry, man.
Yeah, you missed the Snapchat career in the between, because there's always these stories when Snapchat started to grow. So they poached a lot of people from Facebook. So they joined, they built the same thing they built for Facebook. And then when TikTok started to grow, like they poached a lot of Snapchat people because there you go. It was like exactly the same. Although I think TikTok is working way better in terms of the UA than Snapchat. So sorry guys, don't kill me, the guys from Snapchat, but that's how it is. I mean, that's how the channel is performing. Unfortunately or fortunately. Well, fortunately for me. But still, so how do you guys, do you have TikTok on your phones?
Nope.
I removed it after a week because I felt a bit like a creep because I was just looking at younger people like dancing and I was like,
yeah, it
will
different.
Serve you whatever you're looking for, Mel. Like the algorithm's working really great.
Yeah, it's a different platform, so it was a lot of videos of dancing people, and I was actually having fun watching those people during the COVID, but then kind of lost interest of doing the same thing all over again. But again, like you said, the algo works pretty efficiently, and if you are interested in something that it will serve you the same content or very similar content, and there's a lot of trends and hype happening on the platform almost on a daily basis. So in terms of the best practice on the UA side, I think like discovering trending hashtags on a daily basis and using them in ads, that's pretty amazing, which multiplies the reach, because then if you can use it in the creative, you will get pretty interesting organic reach as well. I mean, the platform is usually around like centered around these like dancing moves, but you can find very different hashtags, and usually like using 1 to 5 hashtags gets you closer to your target audience. So doing this research on a weekly basis is kind of like nice activity or exercise. So and I need to debunk one myth that everybody is talking about, which is the creatives, and using the real people in the creatives and situation so your content looks native. Yes, you can do that, but like a lot of people still say, oh well, we can't run TikTok because we don't have creatives with real people. And it's like, come on. It can help you with the performance, it can help you improve the numbers, but you can start the campaigns with whatever creatives works for you on the other channels. Been there, done that. You just just test it out. Don't believe everything that everybody else says, like, yeah, well, who cares about that guy or whoever that says like, hey, you need real people in the creative. So
are we talking about those creators with that really specific stock actors with specific stock acting?
Yeah, that's a new trend on the other channels for the Forex games, and I'm not sure for other channels as well. But yeah, it's really weird. But yeah, I mean, you can use that on TikTok, but again, you can use whatever you have and have pretty good results. That's where
like feed chips to ants.
Feed chip, yeah, exactly. Feed chips to ants. There you go.
So I've never run a UA campaign on TikTok. So is it pretty much it has to be videos, right? Or is it like what's the format?
It can be static image as well, but it's a vertical format mostly, but I also found out that even if it doesn't make any sense on the vertical format platform, you can run landscape and square videos, and it can work pretty well. Because everybody is using the vertical format. Usually, it should be like in a high quality, and if you use the square format, the landscape, like that's something that catches people attention, because it's different.
What's a average CPI now for like, let's say like a casual game in the States if you're using TikTok?
Well, right now I would say for running a purchase campaign, I can actually give you a comparison on the numbers. So for TikTok purchase campaign, like significant scale on a daily basis, it's like $1.5, which is absolutely ridiculously low. If I compare that with Facebook, I'm seeing the same scale, like $6 or $7 on the purchase campaign. There you go. But you won't be able to see the same numbers for every game, because I've seen Facebook working better for certain games and had lower CPIs than TikTok. But again, it was mostly about like the creatives and the campaign structure. But I mean, this is working super well, and yeah. But that's why
I'm unlimited, or like, yeah.
Scale isn't unlimited, but it's growing, and it's pretty decent, I would say.
But it's not value optimized, as you say, yeah.
It's not value optimized yet. So even with, but the thing is, like, even with purchase optimized campaigns, which is the up event optimization, you can see pretty interesting ROAS. So, and I wouldn't run the campaigns if I wouldn't hit the positive ROAS on day, I don't know, like 30 or 60. So that's pretty interesting.
Can you pay to like sponsor challenges as well?
Well, the thing is, with TikTok, the biggest challenge is the creative refresh, because you need to, since the platform is about videos, everybody just consume the videos on a daily basis, and you need to rotate the creatives on a weekly basis, which I would do anyway on the different channels. But in this case, it's not enough to add just one creative. You need to add more creatives than one. Usually I do like 3 to 5. It doesn't need to be a completely new creative concept. Minimal changes are kind of needed. So, different background music, different button, different lengths and stuff like that, like minimum changes, but it needs to be a new creative. So that can help you drive the impressive numbers afterwards. There are also like other best practices in terms of the creatives, which is like adding like background music to your ads to make them more enjoyable and native. The fun part of the TikTok is the video tool or video creator tool, which helps you add also like TikTok music from their library. Man, they have like millions of sounds and audio and music in their library that you can use freely. That's pretty impressive. It's really good. And also there is a tool that can help you like adjust creatives and also like make these like small changes that I've talked about. And it's just automated as well. So it, you have one video, it can help you build like 6 videos out of it. Just, adding some buttons there, some emojis, different visual effects and stickers even. Like it's really, really interesting.
Is the whole is it more user friendly than like Facebook, Snapchat?
Man, it's the same thing.
It's the same thing. Exactly the same. Yeah.
Exactly the same. It's like really like literally the same thing. You have the same layout of the buttons. UI is almost the same, and it's just a different color. So you have blue for Facebook, yellow for Snap, and black for TikTok, and that's it.
Perfect. Nice.
Yeah, it's really, really easy to start a campaign. Also, one important part.
It's easy if you know someone. That's what you said.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. True. But in terms of the creatives, one important part. Usually, using longer form creatives on the different channels. Here, it's more around like 9 to 15 seconds. Like short videos, really like catchy with music. That's something that performs really well. And also one not important but interesting fact that usually starting the campaign with very broad audience, also with the lowest cost optimization. So I'm letting the TikTok algorithm do the magic trick. And then afterwards, using their insights to see which segments are performing the best, and they have like loads of interesting data on the audience side, all the interest and all the demo information, and then using that to build a different or like the next campaigns, and then building lookalikes, the same thing that happens on Facebook basically. And then with the lowest cost bidding, I'm just checking the average cost per install or cost per action, whatever you are using for the optimization, and then like limiting the costs based on that data. So pretty straightforward. Again, if you know someone.
Doing this little research convinced me of one thing. As soon as ByteDance goes public, I'm buying shares. Jeez, juggernaut. Should we call it a day?
Yeah, I think so.
There you have it, folks. UA tips from
maybe
with the Powerpuff Girls on his chest. Always listen to a man that has the Powerpuff Girls tattooed on his chest.
But yeah, Jakub wants to say something.
Yeah. I'm just again, non-UA person, and want to have some kind of a prediction here. So do you say that as the time goes, this kind of just focuses more on what's happening now, meaning that Facebook gets worse, all the other channels get worse, and TikTok gets better in a way?
It could be. The audience grows in terms of it's not only young people anymore on the platform, which was the case before COVID hit. Nobody was using TikTok because there was no ROI basically. But now, the audience is definitely grown. And
do you see that there's any possibility of a turnaround for Facebook to catch up with them?
They would need to change a lot of their algo and how actually how the users and people consume the content on Facebook, because
But that's the main difference between the platforms. Whereas
it is.
TikTok pretty much created the whole thing based on the immediate algorithm, and at Facebook you need to create your whole kind of targeting by liking this, liking that, liking that.
Sure, but the thing is, like, if you think about like how you use TikTok, you open, 10 years ago, you opened up Facebook, you just wanted to chat with your friends, read news, and watch some videos and content. Now, what do you do on Facebook? The only thing I use is Messenger app.
Yeah.
I don't even open the Facebook because there is nothing. There's nothing relevant anymore.
Every second feed item is an ad, pretty much.
It's an ad or a hoax or some like really dummy
polarizing content.
Polarizing content, yeah, because that's what everybody wants, apparently. So like there's the thing, like you don't use Facebook that much anymore. So logically, there are different UA channels that drive these impressive numbers. So yeah, I'm not able to predict anything because I hate predictions.
But do you want to say you're kind of skeptic?
I'm not a skeptic. I just don't do predictions.
Okay,
but no,
okay.
I don't think Facebook can turn this around this year. Maybe next year or the year after. It's not an easy job. It's not.
You're telling me Facebook is going to have less money to spend on their VR headsets? Dude, that's like telling Remo there's no Santa.
Well, let's see what happens. Like
don't worry, VR will survive. It will. It has for 60 years. It will survive next 60 years.
Yeah. Yeah, they will create their metaverse, and then they will serve ads in the metaverse, and that's the turnaround.
That's the turning
point. Yeah, their turning point in Facebook universe. Yeah, man. Yeah. Okay, so with that in mind, thank you for listening. Hit the subscribe button on all the YouTubes, Spotify's, and Apples, and wherever you are watching, or on TikToks as well, listening to us. Thank you very much. Thanks, guys. Until next time. Bye-bye.
See ya.